Hidden behind the vivid colors of Mexico's cultural mosaic is a story that is sometimes overlooked: the existence and survival of Black Mexicans. While Mexico proudly embraces its diverse past, the story of its Afro-Mexican population is virtually unknown, hidden beneath decades of historical omission and societal oversight. In a country famed for its complex cultural tapestry, Black Mexicans' presence and contributions are frequently overlooked and often go unnoticed in favor of more prominent themes. However, behind this veil of invisibility is a society with a rich history, lively culture, and extraordinary endurance. Welcome to yet another exciting video content that often overlooks the realities of being Black in Mexico. In today's episode, we will uncover Mexico's Black community's hidden stories and lived experiences. But before we delve into this important discussion, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on thought-provoking videos like this. And to our returning viewers, welcome back. Now let's dive into the heart of the matter and shed light on the stories that deserve to be heard. Number 1. A legacy lost in shadows. When we think about Mexico, we usually hear about its indigenous people and Spanish heritage. But did you know that there's another vital part of Mexico's story? It's the incredible legacy of the African diaspora, which means the spread of African people and their culture to different parts of the world. Once upon a time, in the colorful story of Mexico, there's a part often left out. We hear much about the indigenous people and the Spanish who came later, but what about the Africans? Let's rewind back to when huge ships crossed the ocean carrying people against their will. This is where our story starts. Long ago, during something called the transatlantic slave trade, many Africans were taken far away from their homes to work in different places. Mexico was one of those places. Even though it's not talked about much, there were a lot of Africans who ended up in Mexico. They didn't come by choice, but their hard work and culture greatly impacted Mexico's story. In those times, Mexico became home to a significant population of Africans. Their hard work and creativity helped shape Mexico's identity in amazing ways. Their cultural contributions became part of the colorful pattern of Mexico's diverse heritage. Mexico is like a big puzzle. You have the indigenous people, the Spanish settlers, and then you have the African piece. But sometimes that piece gets overlooked. It's like when you're so focused on finishing the puzzle that you forget the little details. That's what happened with the story of Black Mexicans. Back then, Mexico wasn't the country we know today. It was a place where different groups came together, sometimes peacefully. The Africans brought here had to work hard, mostly on farms and in mines. They didn't get to choose what they did and didn't get the credit they deserved. But here's the thing. Even though they were forced to come to Mexico, they didn't disappear into history. They brought their music, their food, and their way of life. Can you imagine the sound of drums echoing through the fields or the taste of spicy dishes passed down from generation to generation? That's the legacy of Black Mexicans. Now let's fast forward a bit. Mexico gained its independence and new governments came and went, but the story of Black Mexicans stayed hidden in the shadows. It's like everyone forgot that they were even there. But just because something is forgotten doesn't mean it's not important. Think about it this way. Every brick counts if you're building a house. You can't just leave one out and expect the house to stand firm. That's why Black Mexicans are like an important part of Mexico's foundation that sometimes gets ignored. But here's where the story gets interesting. Some communities proudly embrace their African heritage in places like Guerrero and Oaxaca along the coasts. They sing songs passed down for centuries. They cook dishes that tell stories of resilience and survival. They're like guardians of a secret history, keeping it alive for future generations. Recently, efforts have been made to shine a light on the legacy of the African diaspora in Mexico. People are working to tell Afro-Mexican stories and celebrate their important contributions. This is crucial for ensuring everyone's story is told and valued and that no one feels left out or invisible. And guess what? They're not alone. They're lifting the lost puzzle piece under the table and saying, "Look at this. This matters too." So, what can we learn from all of this? First, history is more than just dates in a textbook. It's a living, breathing story that's constantly changing. And secondly, every piece of the puzzle is important. We can't truly understand Mexico's story without understanding the role of Black Mexicans. Their legacy is an integral part of Mexico's history and identity, and we must acknowledge and celebrate their profound impact on shaping the nation and ensure that their important legacy is not lost in the shadows. Number 2. A hidden identity. Have you ever felt like you're invisible? No matter how hard you try, people just don't see you for who you are. That's how many Black Mexicans have felt throughout history. Black Mexicans have faced difficult challenges because of the color of their skin. They have been treated unfairly and left out of important opportunities just because of how they look. This is not fair at all, is it? It's like being a part of a big family, but feeling like some family members don't see or understand you. That's what it's been like for Black Mexicans in Mexico's story. Even though they've been there all along, their voices often get drowned out by louder ones. Black Mexicans have faced a lot of discrimination and unfair treatment over the years. They've been pushed to the sidelines, forced to blend in instead of standing out. It's like trying to paint a rainbow with only one color. It just doesn't work. One big challenge they've faced is the erasure of their identity. This means that their stories and experiences have not been given the recognition they deserve. Their important chapter in Mexico's history and culture has often been left out, making it hard for them to feel seen and appreciated. One big reason for this is something called forced assimilation. It means that people are expected to act and look a certain way. If they don't, they're made to feel like they don't belong. For Black Mexicans, this has meant hiding their culture and trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for them. They have had to navigate their existence at the intersection of multiple cultural identities, blending different parts of who they are to fit in. But it's not just about fitting in, it's also about who gets to be in charge. In Mexico, like in many places, there's something called racial hierarchies. It's like a ladder with some people at the top and others at the bottom. And guess who's usually stuck at the bottom? You guessed it, Black Mexicans. Being told that you're not as good as someone else just because of the color of your skin. It's not right, but it's something that Black Mexicans have had to deal with for a long time. And it's not just about what people say, it's about how society is set up, with certain groups getting more opportunities than others. And then there's the idea of Eurocentric ideals. That's a fancy way of saying that European culture is considered better or more important than others. For Black Mexicans, this has meant feeling like their own culture isn't valued as much as others. It's like trying to shine a light in the darkness, only to have someone else come along and turn it off. So, what does all of this mean for Black Mexicans today? Well, it means that they often find themselves stuck between different worlds. They're Mexican, but they're also Black, and sometimes it feels like they don't fully belong in either. It's like trying to walk a tightrope, always trying to find your balance, but never quite feeling steady. But here's the thing. Despite all of the challenges they face, Black Mexicans are resilient. They refuse to let anyone else define who they are or what they can achieve. They're reclaiming their culture, identity, and place in Mexican society. You can see this resilience in action in places like the Costa Chica region in Guerrero and Oaxaca. Communities there are proud of their African heritage and are not afraid to show it. They celebrate themselves, keeping their traditions alive for future generations. People all over Mexico and the world are starting to listen to the voices of Black Mexicans. They're saying, "We see you, we hear you, and we're here to support you." It's like a ray of sunshine breaking through the clouds, bringing hope and warmth to those who most need it. Number 3, resilience and cultural resurgence. In Mexico, the diversity of its people is much like that patchwork, with each community adding its unique flair to the nation's cultural landscape. Among these vibrant communities are the Black Mexicans, whose resilience and cultural richness shine brightly despite facing various challenges. Black Mexicans, also known as Afro-Mexicans, have a long and storied history in Mexico. Descendants of African slaves brought to Mexico centuries ago have overcome adversity with remarkable strength, holding on to their cultural heritage even in the face of discrimination and marginalization. Their influence can be felt in every aspect of Mexican life. Afro-Mexican communities proudly celebrate their heritage in regions like the Costa Chica in Guerrero and Oaxaca and the Costa Grande. They reclaim their narrative, asserting their rightful place in Mexican society and showcasing the beauty of their culture for all to see. Music is one of the most powerful expressions of Afro-Mexican culture. The rhythms of Afro-Mexican music, infused with African beats and indigenous melodies, captivate audiences and tell the stories of resilience and perseverance. Traditional instruments like the marimba and drums create a diverse sound pattern, inviting listeners to dance and celebrate alongside the Afro-Mexican community. Similarly, Afro-Mexican food is a testament to the resilience and resourcefulness of Black Mexicans. Influenced by African and indigenous traditions, Afro-Mexican dishes are bursting with flavor and history. From savory stews and soups to spicy salsas and mole sauces, each dish tells a story of survival and adaptation in the face of adversity. But despite their contributions to Mexican culture, Afro-Mexicans continue to face challenges. Discrimination and unequal access to resources remain pervasive, creating barriers to education, employment, and economic opportunity. These systemic inequalities intersect with race, exacerbating the marginalization of Afro-Mexican communities and perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Yet despite these challenges, Afro-Mexicans remain resilient, finding strength in their cultural heritage and community bonds. Grassroots organizations and advocacy groups are working tirelessly to raise awareness of Afro-Mexican issues and promote inclusivity and representation in all sectors of society. Education plays a crucial role in this effort, teaching students about Afro-Mexican communities' rich history and contributions. By highlighting Black Mexicans' resilience and cultural richness, educators can foster empathy, understanding, and appreciation for all people, regardless of race or ethnicity. Moreover, creating spaces for dialogue and collaboration between Afro-Mexican communities and the broader society is essential for building bridges and promoting social cohesion. Festivals, cultural events, and community projects allow people from all backgrounds to unite, celebrate diversity, and learn from one another. The resilience of Black Mexicans is a testament to the power of culture and community in overcoming adversity. Despite facing systemic challenges, Afro-Mexicans proudly embrace their heritage, enriching Mexican society with their music, cuisine, and traditions. By acknowledging and celebrating the contributions of Afro-Mexican communities, we can create a more inclusive and equitable society for all. Number 4. Challenging stereotypes. Mexico is a lot more diverse than you might think. There are people of all different colors and backgrounds, including Black Mexicans. But you might not know that because they aren't always shown in the media or history books. It's like trying to assemble a puzzle with missing pieces, and you can't see the whole picture. But here's where it gets interesting. Black Mexicans are challenging those stereotypes. They say, "Hey, we're here too, and we're just as Mexican as anyone else." One of the ways they're doing this is by embracing their heritage. That means they're proud of where they come from and are not afraid to show it. They're celebrating their culture in big and small ways. And you know what? It's working. People are starting to pay attention. They're realizing that Mexico isn't just one thing. It's a beautiful pattern woven together by many threads. And Black Mexicans are an important part of it. But it's not just about showing off. It's also about confronting stereotypes. That's just a fancy word for when people make assumptions about others based on their appearance or origin. And let me tell you, there are a lot of stereotypes about Mexico and Mexicans. Some people think all Mexicans are poor, or that they're all lazy, or that they all like spicy food. But here's the truth. Mexicans are as diverse as the country itself. There are rich Mexicans and poor Mexicans, hardworking Mexicans and lazy Mexicans, and yes, Mexicans who love spicy food and Mexicans who don't. By challenging these stereotypes, Black Mexicans show the world that there's more to Mexico than meets the eye. They're saying, "Don't put us in a box. We're complex, we're multifaceted, and we're proud of it." The visibility of Black Mexicans challenges the notion of a monolithic Mexican identity and promotes a more inclusive narrative. By highlighting the complexities of Mexico's multicultural identity, they are broadening the understanding of what it means to be Mexican and fostering a spirit of inclusivity that embraces the country's diverse roots. In recent years, efforts have been made to officially recognize the presence of Afro-Mexican communities within the fabric of Mexican society. In 2019, Mexico recognized Afro-Mexicans as a separate ethnic group, a significant step toward acknowledging their unique cultural contributions and addressing historical marginalization. The influence of Black Mexicans in challenging stereotypes and shaping a more inclusive representation of Mexican identity is profound and far-reaching. By embracing and celebrating diversity, Black Mexicans are driving a powerful movement of inclusion and recognition that reshapes perceptions of Mexican identity and promotes a more unified and diverse society. Number 5. Embracing diversity. Celebrating Black Mexicans isn't just about looking back at the past. It's about ensuring they're also a big part of Mexico's future. It's like adding a new ingredient to a recipe. It improves everything. When we acknowledge the contributions of Black Mexicans, we're not just celebrating their culture and history, we're also recognizing the valuable ways they have influenced art, music, food, and many other aspects of Mexican society. Understanding and appreciating these contributions can create a more complete and richer picture of Mexican heritage. Acknowledging Black Mexicans also means working to break down any unfair barriers that might be in their way. This includes ensuring everyone has access to a good education, fair job opportunities, and equal treatment in all aspects of life. It's about making sure that no one feels like they're being held back just because of who they are. By embracing the stories and experiences of Black Mexicans, we can promote unity and understanding among all people in Mexico. When everyone's voice is heard and respected, it helps build a society where differences are celebrated and people from all backgrounds can unite as one community. The recognition and celebration of Black Mexicans are essential steps in shaping a future where everyone feels valued and included. By learning from their experiences and honoring their heritage, we can create a society where diversity is seen as a strength and where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and contribute to the country's progress. By acknowledging and celebrating Black Mexicans, Mexico can pave the way for a future where all individuals feel empowered and appreciated regardless of their background. The story of Black Mexicans is not just a tale of struggle and resilience, it's a testament to the beauty of diversity and the power of unity. By shedding light on the untold narrative of Black Mexicans, we can strive for a more inclusive and equitable society where every individual's story is acknowledged and celebrated. As we draw the curtains on today's thought-provoking episode, we're confident it has made a lasting impression on you. Your ongoing support is invaluable, and we eagerly await your return for our next installment. If you've gleaned value from what we've shared today, we encourage you to take a moment to like and share this video. By spreading the video, you're enhancing the lives of others and fostering our community's growth. To ensure you don't miss out on our future releases, hit that subscribe button and activate notifications. Believe us, you won't want to miss what lies ahead on the horizon. Thank you for being an integral part of our journey. Until we meet again, continue to explore, learn, and inspire.